I'm just going to put everybody on mute and I'll get started here. So our little request today is some low back stuff or some spine stuff. But they were saying especially QL, which is like a muscle connecting between your hip and your lower rib. So we'll focus on kind of low back stuff, and that's going to transition us into some hip work. We'll do just a little flow through the hips, and we'll finish off just doing some hip circles, but we'll just talk about a little bit of intention with them that'll maybe make it feel like a bit of a different experience than normal. And then I think that by strengthening our hips or creating some more awareness in our hips helps to develop strength through that area, and that can be really helpful for supporting the spine. If you have like the little yoga blocks, then sweet, grab some of those. You don't have to have them. And we'll get going here. We'll get started with our back. I just want you guys to do a couple reps of your cat camel. So that's where you're just moving your back like a whip. So in a tabletop position, hands out in front of your shoulder line. If your wrists tend to get a little bit sore, you right underneath the shoulders. And we'll let everything arch in the back so it's bowing towards the floor. And then starting at the hip, we're going to roll our hips backwards. The tailbone tucks, the lower back starts rounding. That moves through the mid-back to the upper back, and then the neck finishes off, tucking towards the chin. Holding everything rounded, we'll start at the hips again. We'll pull the tail out from between the legs. We'll roll hips forward. That arches the low back, that arches the mid back, and that arches the upper back. And we finish again with the neck, Adam's apple, lifting up and away from your sternum, from your chest. Everything arch, let's round again. We're tucking hip, rolling it backwards, tail between the legs, low back rounds, mid back rounds, mid back rounds, and upper back, neck. One more time, full thing, arching, low back, mid-back, upper back, and lifting neck, rounding, low back, through mid-back, through upper back, through neck. So, for this next part, you can stay in the tabletop position, and that's totally fine. We're going to try to isolate. We don't want our ribs to move as much. So what you guys could do, if you feel comfortable with it, I just want you to make sure that you're not balancing your weight in your neck. It should be more in through the length of your forearm. So you're thinking about loading your shoulders up more. This position, for some of you, you might find again too taxing, in which case come out of it and just go to tabletop, and that's perfectly fine. But we want to try to get just the lower back to start rounding out. So I'm going to drop down onto my forearms. I can interlace my fingers, and I can just let my head, the top side of my head, rest in my palm. And this way, I'm just kind of rounding out my upper and mid back to try to keep it out of the equation. I'm going to gently start rolling my hips backwards. So I'm trying to tuck my tail between my legs. And I'm just trying to feel some length coming in through the back side of my lower back. I'll do a big inhale through nose. Exhale through mouth. On inhales, we try to feel some more length coming in through the lower back. And on the exhales, we find more length. Inhale, kind of stretches. Exhale, we settle into it. Let's just get 5 full breaths in. So 1. Exhale, out mouth. 2, inhale nose. 3, exhale out mouth. 3, inhale. 4, exhale out mouth. Inhale. Exhale. And again, inhale. Last exhale. So you can pop out of that for a quick second if you were in it. The next thing we're going to do here is we'll just try to get some movement happening through our low back through a couple different ways that it can move. So for one, we're going to try to hike the hip up. So we try to pull right hip up to right shoulder. We try to pull left hip up to left shoulder. We're going to do sort of like this like hula hooping action almost through our hip when we do this. So if we were to pull right hip to right shoulder, tuck the tail, and then pull left hip to left shoulder, and then arch the tail or untuck it. So then we can kind of get this weird little motion going. Okay, so we're going to do a couple reps going in one direction and a couple reps going the other way. Again, stick to tabletop if you like, or drop back down to that base position we were in to try to pull the rib cage out of the equation. So here we go. I'm going to get top of my head on the ground, resting palms on the back side of the head, pushing through my forearm, my shoulders to support my head so I'm not letting my weight hit my neck. And side bend, right hip to right shoulder, roll hip backwards, tuck the tail, pull left hip to left shoulder, arch the low back, untuck the tail. Keep it arched, side bend, right hip to right shoulder, tuck the hips, bring left hip to left shoulder, arch. Right hip to right shoulder, tuck. Left hip to left shoulder, arch. One more time. Right hip to right shoulder, tuck. Left hip to left shoulder, arch. And now we'll reverse it. We'll stay arched. We'll stay left hip to left shoulder. We'll tuck again. We'll bring right hip to right shoulder and arch. Left hip to left shoulder, tuck. Right hip to right shoulder, arch. Left hip to left shoulder, tuck. Right hip, right shoulder, arch. Left hip, left shoulder, tuck. Right hip, right shoulder, arch. Left hip, left shoulder, tuck. Cool. Come on to that. That's one that's totally worth playing around with on your own again if you found it's a little bit disorientating from tabletop, even more so when you have your head on the floor. So to regress it or to make it just a little bit simpler is just staying in the tabletop position and trying to do that little loop. We'll go into our hips. So what we'll try to go into here is like our little 90-90 position. So my front leg is 90 degrees. My chest is facing that lead hip, and my trail leg is bent 90 degrees. In this position, we should have our thigh and our shin lined up, and then opposite thigh and shin that are parallel to each other. And what we'll do here is we're just going to puff the chest out. We'll try to arch the low back while we drop out towards that lead knee. And we'll feel a stretch on kind of the inside of that lead hip, on kind of like deep inside of the hip, but on the outside. And we'll just take a big breath here. And we'll exhale. Maybe we can get a little bit deeper. Big inhale. Big exhale. We'll try to get a little bit deeper. One more time. Big inhale. Big exhale. We'll try to get a little bit deeper. We'll come out of that. We're going to try to get a stretch again, or a sensation that's deep inside of the hip, but this time more towards the front side of the inside of that trail leg. And if we just start to rotate our body or our torso towards that trail knee, and if we even add a bit of a side bend in towards that trail knee, then hopefully you start to feel a bit of like a melting sensation on the inside of that trail hip. If it's feeling uncomfortable at all, try to just lean away from it and twist, and that's where that discomfort might start to go away. Make sure you're not feeling any pulling sensation through the inside of your knee though, or else that's something that we don't want to invite. And again, we'll just do breathing. Big inhale. On an exhale, try to encourage a little bit more melting. Try to get a little bit deeper into that position. Big inhale. Exhale, try to get a little bit deeper into the position again. Big inhale. One more time. Exhale, we'll try to get a little bit deeper. And then here what we'll do is we can just play a little transition. We'll just bring the palms back a little bit more. Again, lean back to buy yourself some space to lift that trail leg as high as you can. When it won't go any higher, allow the other leg to start coming up while you continue to try to pull yourself to the other side. Drop that lead leg down and then let that trail leg follow. And now you're in that 90-90 position again, but on the other side. And if you're not, just doctor it up real quick. We'll do the same thing on the other side. If your lead knee is coming up off of the ground, you could try to just wrap your hand underneath it and give it a little bit of support and just kind of try to pull your leg towards your hip while you drop into position. If that's awkward, then feel free to just let that go and toy around with something that allows you to feel that stretch on the outside part, deep inside of the hip, on the lead leg. Big inhale. Big exhale. Try to pull yourself a little bit deeper. Big inhale. Big exhale. Try to pull deeper. One more big inhale. Big exhale. Pulling a little bit deeper. To the trail leg again. So trying to feel a sensation deeper inside of that hip, maybe kind of through the groin as well, or maybe it feels a little bit more dominant in the groin. So long as it's not causing any discomfort through the inside of your knee, we'll just twist our torso. Think about leading from the sternum, following with the hip towards that trail leg. And we're trying to feel kind of like a melting sensation. It would feel almost like trying to pull your finger out of a finger trap. And we're breathing here. Big inhale. Hold the position. Exhale. Find more length in the position. Try to get deeper. Big inhale. Big exhale. Getting deeper. One more time. Big inhale. Big exhale. Getting a little bit deeper. Cool. So just like before, we'll just play with the transitions once or twice, going between our 90-90 from side to side. So we start with that lead leg. We try to pin down, trail leg. We try to pin down the lead leg, or we just gently start to lift the trail leg. When it won't lift any higher, it feels like that lead leg is going to come up. Then go ahead and just slowly start to transition yourself to the other side. Try to keep as much space between your legs to challenge that stuff on the inside of your groin. And then you're going to land somewhat in that 90-90. If you create just a gentle pull from the hamstrings to try to keep the knees at that 90-degree angle, people tend to let this stuff go slack while they're transitioning from side to side. And that's where they tend to end up in like a wide leg position when they land on the other side. We'll just do that twice more each direction. So just gently lifting trail leg, following with the lead, trying to pull the knees apart to get some stretch sensation through the inside of the thigh, aka the groin, landing again in that 90-90. Leading with that back leg, lifting up, won't lift any higher, gently allow that lead leg to follow, and coming back to where we started. And then again, back leg first, follow through with the trail leg, down, and then coming back one more time. Lead leg, create the space, and trail leg. Wicked. Let's just see how we're doing for time. Awesome, not bad. And so, what do you guys think? Should we just finish off with a little variation of that hip circle, or a little conversation about hip circles? Thumbs up. Yeah, okay, sick, you guys. So think about your mobility work is exactly the same as doing like a deadlift, bicep curl, whatever the hell. It's just joint specific strength training. So think about when you're going to do a deadlift, say, and you're gonna start off with 20 pounds on the bar, then you're gonna add 30 pounds, and then 40 pounds, 50 pounds, right? You're incrementally increasing the load from set to set, kind of like warming up and going into those working sets. We're gonna think about our hip circle in the exact same fashion. where on our first rep, we'll do 5 of them. Our first rep, we're gonna try to keep it at 10-pound deadlift. Then we're gonna do 20-pound. We'll squeeze the muscles a little bit harder. The third rep, we'll try to squeeze the muscles harder. Fourth, we'll try to squeeze harder. And by the 5th, we're just gonna try to tension everything in the body as hard as we possibly can. At the same time, we'll also increase the range of motion gradually so that by the very last rep is the hardest one, and hopefully you should be sweating by that last rep. Body would be shaking a little bit. We're gonna stand up for these if you like. Feel free to do the tabletop if you wanna have some more stability, okay? But it'll be the same thing either way, tabletop or standing. If you guys are standing, feel free to put yourselves against the wall so you have a little bit of support for going through this rep. So again, keep in mind, low intensity for this first rep. Let me demo one super fast for you guys and we'll all go together. What we're thinking about is trying to lift the knee up, and over time we'll lift it higher and higher, keeping the height while we pull sideways and trying to bring it as far back as possible, okay? The first rep, we're gonna do a lower range of motion and a softer squeeze of the muscles. So we'll pick it up just a little bit, we'll pull it sideways just a little bit, we'll pull it back a little bit, and from backside, we'll reverse it. We'll come front side again. So that should be like a pretty easy minimal effort rep. Now let's just dial up a little bit. Let's squeeze all the muscles in our hip and leg just a little bit harder. Knee pulls a little bit higher, reaches sideways a little bit more, reaches backwards just a little bit more. Same thing coming back. We try to trace the same arc of motion of going front side. Now we're gonna squeeze everything a little bit harder. We're gonna lift just a little bit higher. We'll pull sideways just a little bit more. We'll pull backwards just a little bit more. We'll come front side. Just like when we're warming up the weights on the bar, we're starting to notice more and more the effort, the demands of going through this exercise and this movement. This is 4th rep, so we're really gonna start to feel it, really pulling high, really pulling sideways, really pulling it back and following through, coming front side. And now here goes, this is our mean rep, all right? Think of this like a 1 rep max deadlift, but on your hip, okay? So really squeeze everything tight. Keep your heel close to your butt. Bring that knee way up high. Feel this stuff front side of your hip, really squeezing to try to lift the knee. Keep squeezing it to pull it sideways. Butt muscles are working to pull it sideways. Pull it back, keep the height. Pull it behind you. You should be shaking. Keep shaking, pull the knee backwards, keep shaking, lift it up high, 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 turn out, lift higher, fight for more height as it comes front side, fight, 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 and bring it down. My voice is shaking while I do these, right? I'm working super hard here. I'll just go to the other wall. I'm gonna do the other side. So, same idea, we'll start out gentle. Explore the range of motion from rep to rep. Not too high, not too wide, not too far back, not too far back, not too wide, not too high. You can hear my voice is still shaking from that last set. A little bit higher, a little bit wider, a little bit further behind. Listen to all the muscles that are responsible for each part of the range of motion. Different muscles are pulling the joint in different directions. Try to really tap into that stuff on these little, what we'll call warm-up sets, to really work them in these working sets. So this is number 3. We're gonna do 2 more. I want this 4th rep to be pretty challenging. Think of this as like an 80% deadlift, all right? So let's concentrate here. Lift up, keep squeezing the knee closed, work that hamstring, work the hip top side and outside to bring it up and sideways. Work the back side of the hip and the hamstring, the butt to pull it behind you. Pull behind, hard, hard, hard. Pull it high, don't let it unwind. Lift, lift, lift. Height, height, height. Good, that's rep number 4. This is our last one. This one's the one that really matters. Maximum height lifting up. Keep length of your spine. Keep a little tuck in the hips. Pull sideways real hard. pull back real hard, fight, 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 pull it behind you, hold it there, keep it behind you, pull it sideways, maybe you're getting some cramping through the muscles, pull it sideways and high, lift it up in front, lift it, lift it, lift it, and bring it down. Sweet. Nice, you guys. Is that a good challenge?
It was really good, Danny, but I have a question. When, especially on my left leg, when I was lifting, I was hearing this noise of my joints like cracking. Is it normal?
Yeah. Do you have any WD-40 in your home?
No, what is that?
I'm teasing. It's like lubrication.
Oh.
So if you guys are getting those types of sensations, it could just be because the joint hasn't explored that range of motion for like a while. So that whole area, or like the stuff around there, has become kind of fibrotic. So it's kind of just disorganized tissue that kind of needs to be really pried open. It's not scar tissue, but it's a lot denser. It's not as fluid as like really truly healthy tissue. So you might notice if you just dial it back to like the effort of rep 3, it probably felt a lot better, I'm imagining.
Yeah,
like
it did.
4 and 5 was like, okay, this feels like almost gross.
Yep.
So try to just move through that stuff. As long as there isn't any pain, then you should be okay. But if you're feeling like a pinching sensation, or you feel like a nerve, like an electric kind of shock through the body type thing, that's where you probably want to dial back the range of motion, and potentially even get in touch with like Steph or Jen and try to do like a little online assessment, whatever the case. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. It does. It wasn't any pain. It was just the cracking noise. And I was doing a lot of skating lunges. So I don't know if it's because of that or it's because of this. So it was interesting. I was hearing cracks. So, and it was only my left side. It was on my right side.
Cool. So then, and so like one of the great things about the mobility stuff is you really start to be able to assess and notice differences between side to side. And I would say that it has more to do with a lack of experience, or with the amount of time that's gone by without exploring that range, that the tissue has just kind of remodeled itself a little bit to try to be a thicker tissue that helps compensate for the loss of actual like muscular contractile control.
Understood.
I'm trying to keep that as like basic as possible. I'm trying not to beat you up. So yeah, just long story longer is just more reps, build it up over time.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Shameless plug. I've really enjoyed doing this stuff. And I've had my own problems with keeping myself accountable and everything. And so as an effort to try to get myself moving a lot more, on 8 a.m. on my Instagram, I'm doing like a live morning routine. It's essentially the same movements every morning, and it lasts around 15 or 20 minutes. It's something I'm just doing daily, Monday through Sunday. And the video lasts on Instagram for 24 hours. So you can go online at any time and check it out. And it's like a head to toe kind of joint routine.
Mm-hmm.
To just try to keep us active, to really start to try to avoid those kinds of sensations from starting to accumulate through the entire body, and just a means of getting a little bit more out of moving around day to day. So feel free to check it out. I posted it on our Facebook.
I thought you were live. I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah. Any other questions, you guys? You good?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Great to see you all.
It's on the Facebook thing?
Yeah.
So I can just go on.
You might be able to access it. Actually, it might show up on my personal, like Danny Martin Facebook page.
Okay, so I have to go there. I don't use Facebook or Instagram very often, so.
Otherwise, Matt, you might have to sign up for Instagram, dude.
I know, I just got a brand new phone in the mail, so I'm like, I feel like my dad. When it comes to technology, I'm like my dad. I still type with one finger and.
Yeah, me too.
So,
I feel you, man.
Okay. So I'll have to install Instagram, and then what do I look for? Danny Martin?
It's First River, all one word, with an underscore.
With an underscore?
And I posted on our group page, so you can see the Instagram name on our Facebook page.
But on the CrossFit webs or CrossFit Facebook page is there? Okay, so I'm not gonna look for that. But is it